How does the Indian Navy, a force once considered insignificant, command respect and fear on the global stage today? This is a question that has intrigued many. In this video, we're going to explore the remarkable transformation of the Indian Navy. From its humble beginnings to its current stature as a formidable maritime force, its journey is a testament to resilience, strategic growth, and unyielding spirit. Join us as we dive into the ocean of the Indian Navy's extraordinary journey. In the late 1940s, the Indian Navy was but a small force with a handful of ships. A fledgling entity, it was born out of the aftermath of India's independence, finding its roots amidst an atmosphere of hope and upheaval. With the partition of the subcontinent, the British Indian Navy was divided between India and Pakistan, leaving the Indian Navy with a limited fleet and an even more limited pool of personnel. The early days were fraught with challenges. The Navy was underfunded, undermanned, and under-equipped. It was a force in its infancy, with a daunting task ahead. The nation had just emerged from the clutches of colonial rule, and the new government had its hands tied with numerous pressing issues. The Navy, hence, had to make do with what it had, and what it had was not much. Yet even within these constraints, the Indian Navy showed resilience and ingenuity. The officers and sailors, though few, were determined and dedicated. They understood the importance of a strong naval force for an emerging nation like India, surrounded by water on three sides. They knew that they had a significant role to play in safeguarding the nation's sovereignty and its maritime interests. Despite the limited resources, the Indian Navy managed to stay afloat and even make some crucial strides. It began to train its personnel, build its infrastructure, and slowly but surely expand its fleet. It was a slow process, but it was progress nonetheless. But perhaps what set the foundation for the formidable force the Indian Navy would become was its spirit. It was a spirit of perseverance, of resilience, and of an unwavering commitment to the nation. It was this spirit that saw the Navy through its early years, through the challenges and the hardships, and set it on the path to becoming a force to be reckoned with. And so, from these initial days of struggle and survival, the seeds of a mighty naval force were sown. The journey was not easy, but it was a journey that had to be undertaken. For as the saying goes, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor, and skilled sailors they became. From these humble beginnings, a formidable force was set to emerge. The 1960s and 70s saw a significant turning point in the Indian Navy's journey. With the winds of change blowing across the Indian Ocean, the Navy was poised for a growth spurt that would redefine its role and stature on the global stage. This period was marked by rapid expansion and modernization. Like a young sapling stretching towards the sun, the Indian Navy began to grow, reaching for new heights. Vessels both old and new were added to the fleet. From the sturdy warships to the dependable submarines, each addition was a new feather in the Navy's cap, bolstering its strength and capabilities. But it wasn't just about the machinery. It was about the men and women who breathed life into these steel giants. Their unwavering dedication and relentless training were the real driving force behind the Navy's transformation. The Indo-Pak Wars of 1965 and 71 were significant milestones during this phase. The Navy's role was not just limited to safeguarding India's maritime borders, but it extended to providing crucial support to the ground forces. In the War of 1971, the Indian Navy's Operation Trident and Operation Python were shining examples of strategic brilliance and fearless execution. These operations crippled the Pakistani Navy, proving the Indian Navy's capability to strike with precision and power. The Indian Navy's operations during these conflicts showcased its tactical acumen and fighting spirit. They were a testament to the Navy's indomitable courage and its commitment to protect the nation's sovereignty at all costs. This period of growth and combat experience was instrumental in shaping the Indian Navy's identity. It was a time of transformation, a time when the Indian Navy emerged from the shadows to stand tall amongst the world's leading naval powers. The Navy had proven its mettle, but its journey was far from over. This was only the beginning of a journey that would see the Indian Navy evolve into a formidable force, a guardian of the seas and the ruler of the Indian Ocean. As the world entered the 21st century, the Indian Navy was ready to make waves. The onset of the new millennium saw the Indian Navy sailing into an era of rapid technological evolution. It was no longer just about the size of the fleet, but about the sophistication of the technology that powered it. The Indian Navy embraced this new era, bolstering its arsenal with state-of-the-art vessels, cutting-edge radar systems, and advanced missile technologies. From stealth frigates like the Shivalik class to the nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine, the INS Arihant, the Navy's fleet had become a formidable presence. But it wasn't just about the machines. The Indian Navy also recognized the importance of the human element. The number of personnel swelled, with the Navy investing heavily in training and development. The sailors and officers of the Indian Navy were now not just proficient in warfare, but also in areas like disaster management, diplomacy, and peacekeeping. This holistic approach to training created a force that was as capable in conflict as it was in times of peace. The 21st century also saw the Indian Navy taking on a more significant role in global peacekeeping. The Navy's increased involvement in multinational exercises, humanitarian missions, and anti-piracy operations showcased its commitment to maintaining peace and stability in the Indian Ocean region and beyond. Operations like the tsunami relief in 2004, the evacuation of Indian citizens from war-torn Yemen in 2015, and the ongoing anti-piracy operations in the Gulf of Aden are testament to the Navy's expanding role. The Indian Navy's journey from the days of its humble beginnings to its status as a significant global player is a tale of determination, foresight, and strategic growth. It's a story of a force that has not just grown in size and strength, but one that has evolved to meet the challenges of a rapidly changing world. The once small force was now a significant global player. The Indian Navy's strength lies not just in numbers, but in its formidable arsenal and capabilities. The power of the Indian Navy is an amalgamation of state-of-the-art weaponry, cutting-edge technology, and the undying spirit of its personnel. It's not the quantity of the arsenal, but the quality and strategic application that makes the Indian Navy a force to be reckoned with. At the heart of the Navy's arsenal is its fleet of submarines, surface ships, and aircraft. The submarine arm, with its nuclear-powered and diesel-electric vessels, is a silent yet potent force capable of clandestine operations and strategic deterrence. The surface fleet, comprising destroyers, frigates, corvettes, and amphibious warfare ships, is the backbone of the Navy's offensive and defensive capabilities. Equipped with advanced missile systems, these vessels are capable of engaging targets both on the sea and on land. The air arm, with its diverse mix of fighters, helicopters, and surveillance aircraft, provides the Navy with a critical edge in the domains of air superiority, maritime reconnaissance, and anti-submarine warfare. The Navy's missile systems are a vital part of its offensive capabilities. From the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile to the Barak 8 long-range air defense system, these weapons provide the Navy with a significant strike capability and a robust defense against airborne threats. But the Indian Navy's strength is not just about hardware. It's about the men and women who operate these systems, their training, their resolve, and their ability to adapt to changing scenarios. The Navy's special forces, including the Marine Commandos or MARCOS, are testament to this human element. Trained to operate in all kinds of environments, they are the tip of the spear in special operations. The Indian Navy also has a robust capability in the realm of network-centric warfare, with advanced communication and data systems that allow for seamless integration and coordination of its assets. This, coupled with a well-established doctrine of joint operations with the Indian Army and Air Force, gives the Navy an unmatched synergy in conducting large-scale operations. The Indian Navy, with its advanced arsenal, is a force to be reckoned with. The Indian Navy's journey, filled with trials and triumphs, is an ongoing one. Looking ahead, the seascape of the future is both challenging and promising. The ever-evolving geopolitical landscape poses new threats and opportunities. But the Indian Navy stands ready, armed not just with weapons, but with the courage of its sailors and the wisdom of its leaders. Imagine the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean, a canvas of blue that is not just a body of water, but a stage for diplomacy, strategy, and power. The Indian Navy is set to navigate these waters not just as a guardian of India's maritime interests, but as a harbinger of peace and stability in the region. They say that a ship in port is safe, but that's not what ships are built for. The Indian Navy, with its indomitable spirit, is built for the high seas. It's built to face the storm, to ride the waves, to chart the uncharted. The challenges that lie ahead are many. The rise of new maritime powers, the threat of piracy, the need for humanitarian assistance in an increasingly interconnected world. But the Indian Navy is prepared. It is ready to adapt, ready to innovate, ready to lead. As we look towards the horizon, the Indian Navy sails on, ready to conquer the seas. The journey ahead is filled with promise, and the Indian Navy is poised to turn that promise into reality.